All right, it finally went live. So hopefully the internet holds out. It was being kind of funny. Had to reset it real quick. Anyway, welcome to the stream. The last race without Martin Triggs Jr. was on November 20th, 2005. Joey starts his reign of most consecutive starts Ironman title tonight with his 578th consecutive start. Appreciate you there, Jamie Schweitzer. Starting off here with a nice statistic. The race itself, I thought it was a really good race. Josh Berry wins the first stage. Then Ty Dillon on lap 82 blows the tire or whatever. That was a caution. Then you had an Eric Jones caution. Then Pickle Todd blows the tire at 135. Stage 2 goes to Kyle Larson. So all of the hubbub about him not being able to be a restrictor plate racer or a super speedway racer, that sort of goes out the window. Looks like he focused, got in the simulator, did what he needed to do, wins a stage there, ends up finishing high in the end of this race. And then the caution for the end of stage 2 kind of flipped strategy. You had some people that didn't pit or pitted early there, but it kind of flipped the field, and that made it interesting for a while. Then you had a series of cautions. You had about 7 or 8 people there. The 54, the 17, the 48 got in a wreck. Then you had Noah Gibbs, Custer, and Yaley, and Cody Ware in a wreck before that. So you had a lot of things going on with this race. But then as the race was winding down, the usual suspects sort of got back up to the front. Blaney had a solo spin, but he, with the newer tires, was able to work his way back up there. And then at the end of the race, we were going to have a good run to the caution there, it looked like, or to the checkered flag. And they threw the caution, and that ended the race. A lot of people were upset about that. We're going to touch on that in just a minute. But when they threw the caution, the moment of caution ended the race like this. Christopher Bell chasing that Wheelen neon light, living the Dewalt dream. He wins the race in the 20 car. So good for him. Good run. He was the only Toyota that looked like it could do anything up at the front of the pack. Carson Hocevar had an interesting evening. We're going to touch on that here in just a minute as well, finishing in second place. That is the poll question, by the way. Is Carson Hocevar the new Ross Chastain type villain in the NASCAR Cup Series? Kyle Larson, aforementioned earlier, finishes in third place. Ryan Blaney winds up in fourth. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., fifth place finish. Denny Hamlin, sixth place finish. Denny Hamlin making some contact there with Josh Berry at the end was who brought out that last caution. Kyle Busch rallies from the Daytona run to finish seventh here in the Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen Chevrolet. Ross Chastain in eighth place, had a really good car tonight, was up at the front for most of it. Bubba Wallace, another really good Toyota. I never saw him lead, but he was the only other Toyota that was able to really keep his car up there, other than Chase Briscoe. So only 3 Toyotas that really looked like they had a ton of speed here. Chase Briscoe, of course, got involved in one of those or one or two of these wrecks. But he even in the car, he was talking about his car just didn't feel like it had speed. Anyway, John Hunter Nemechek finished in 10th. Legacy continuing a good run, although his teammates had some trouble and didn't get the finish he was hoping for. But John Hunter Nemechek in the Dollar Tree Toyota finishing in 10th. Then 11 through 15 going to be Zane Smith, Joey Logano, Michael McDowell, AJ Allmendinger, Todd Gilliland, Pickle Todd finishing in 15th after some early trouble, was able to rally. Also want to give a shout out here to Michael McDowell, finishing in 13th here. At one point in this race, he was 6 laps down. And with waiver rounds and cautions and things like that, he was able to make up 6 laps, which I saw somebody post on Instagram. I can't remember who posted it because my feed refreshed before I could see who did it. But that ties the NASCAR record or modern record of coming back from 6 laps down to finish on the lead lap or something like that. I don't know if it's accurate, but I saw it out there. So I double checked that. But I did see that on Instagram from somebody. 16 through 20 going to be Austin Dillon, Riley Herbst, Ryan Priest, Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott, and then 21 going to be Chase Briscoe, BJ McLeod in 22nd. Good run. Get loud from McLeod, 22nd there. SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen finishes in 23rd. Your second highest finishing rookie, Riley Herbst, being your highest finishing rookie in 17th. Justin Haley, 24th place position. Josh Berry, great night that just didn't end the way he wanted it to. Had a really fast car. Unfortunately, that contact there at the end with Denny Hamlin did him in. 25th place finish for Josh Berry. 26 through 30 going to be Alex Bowman, William Byron, Austin Cindric, Ty Dillon, and Chris Buescher. And 31st to the rest of the field here are going to be Eric Jones, Ty Gibbs, Daniel Suarez, Noah Gregson, Cody Ware, Cole Custer, JJ Yaley, Corey LaJoy, and Brad Keselowski, who got taken out fairly early. So Earth 2 winner going to be Brad Keselowski. All right. Let's jump into the chats and see what you want to talk about, some of which I'm imagining is going to be Carson Hocevar was called out by a lot of drivers. A lot of drivers had something to say to him after the race. That is the poll question. Is he the new Ross Chastain? As far as NASCAR villains, they tried to vilify Ross Chastain there for a long period of time. Whenever there's a young, aggressive driver, they kind of try to take a little bit of his vinegar away, and that's going to be what Carson Hocevar has to navigate through here. Hocevar did have an interesting comment to make. I saw this in the Discord. Hocevar says, this is from Toby Christie. I appreciate you here, Thunder. Hocevar says, while he has some things to clean up, he's here to win races, not build boy bands. I like his swag there. Express love for others or play on playgrounds together. So there you go. Carson Hocevar said he brought all his friends to the racetrack and he doesn't need to make any more while he's on it. Essentially what he's saying, the old Stephen Wallace quote there. So that's that. And then the green-white checkered. Here's my take on it. I'm just going to skip. Some people think that they should have ran to the checkered flag. Some think that you have to throw the yellow flag here, because Josh Berry hit the wall and Josh Berry was potentially in danger. There's two sides to the coin. My side of the coin is stop having green-white checkers altogether. If a caution ends a race, so be it. A caution ends a race. That's always where I've stood on it. It's not the sexiest thing. It's not going to be the fan favorite thing, but it is without question the thing that's going to be the fairest at the end of the day. It's going to be the fairest at the end of the day because it's going to be consistent. It's going to be the way it's done every time. If there's no imminent danger, you can still race back to the checkered flag. If there is imminent danger, then the race ends there. Point blank, period. No green, white checkers. That's it. That's a wrap. And that's fair and consistent across the board. As long as we have the system with the green, white checkers like it is now, it's going to be inconsistent. It's going to be wonky. So that's my take on it. Not going to be popular, but I'm going to continue to beat that drum because that's just the drum I'm going to continue to beat, I reckon. Russell Dominguez, what's up, my friend? Let's freaking go for sure. Escobar was watching Gluck and Bianchi. They defend NASCAR for throwing the yellow, saying it prevented someone from getting T-boned. That's a fair assessment. I hated it that it ended under yellow, but from a safety perspective, I can't argue against that. That's a fair call. That being said, I still think it would be better just to end the race under the original caution. So that's just where I stand on it, because it's going to be way more consistent. You're not going to get that race that Joey Logano won last year where they re-racked him 5 times and the guy that was 12th, 13th, 16th, wherever Logano was, ends up winning the race. So that's kind of where my stance is with it. I think just the original yellow should end it. Let's see. What's up in between the lanes? Another close finish. It was another close finish. Super crazy. Probably the only real criticism Hocevar is going to get there at the end, even though he was going for the win, there's probably going to be somebody in the Chevy camp that says something about him pushing a Toyota, even though he was pushing the Toyota to get by the Toyota and also pass Kyle Larson. So I'm sure somebody will make that, but he doesn't in that moment know that there's going to be a caution right there. So he was going for the win. Top 10 for Rowdy, for sure. Kyle Busch rallying here with the top 10. Another bad call, says Elise. So Elise didn't like the call. Horrible call unless the wreck is 1 or 2 on the last lap. Doesn't need to throw a caution, says Escobar. It just depends. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I haven't taken the time to look at the replay because I've been trying to get my notes together here. So I'm going to have to go back and look at exactly where Josh Berry's car was sitting the moment they threw the caution. So I'm going to have to go back and look on it. But just going off of what Bianchi and them saying, I can see their perspective. You don't want somebody to get injured. And if people think that the car was far enough down the racetrack that it wasn't a safety concern, I can see your argument too. I just haven't had time to go back and look at it. This is literally post-race after I'm getting all my stuff together here. Let's see. Everyone was in a pack. Nobody slowed down. More for the caution, says Escobar. That's fair. Like I said, I'm going to have to go back and look at it. Anyone else notice AM Racing already 2 top 10s this year, says Speedway Anywhere? Well, I would expect AM Racing to be better. It's their second season in Xfinity full time. and they have more experienced drivers over there now. Haley Deegan was just she just did not have enough seat time to, especially to be with a startup team. So once again, whoever was in her camp and thought it was a good idea for her to go to AM Racing, it just at the end of the day, I know she wanted to race Xfinity. I know she wanted to move up and hopefully get to Cup one day. That was probably the worst situation toward the end of her career. What ended up being the end of her stock car career, she probably could have put herself in, but it is what it is. 24, completely uncontested by the 45 with a major wreck, no yellow, 3 wide to the line, minor wreck, caution. Why does NASCAR do this to us? Now that's a fair point. So NASCAR is inconsistent as they can be about the cautions. That's a whole nother issue, but I 100% agree with you. The inconsistency of it altogether can at times be frustrating. That's the only thing you can say. You can't even say NASCAR favors one side or the other because they are literally just so inconsistent. It's one way this week, it's one way the next week. So I think that's fair as well. My King Ross hosed again. Why? Quattro, a massive, possibly the biggest Ross Chastain, certainly the biggest Ross Chastain fan on this server, we should say. Once again, watching his boo thing get robbed, in his opinion. I would like Ross had a good run though, good looking car throughout the race. What looked to be one of the greatest finishes just got thrown out the window because of NASCAR being classically inconsistent. Says Chrome Diesel. BB, any schemes that you liked? I thought Columbia did a good job with was it Bubba Wallace? I think it was Bubba Wallace 23. It was either 23 or the 45. I know it was 2311. I think it was Bubba. I thought that car, I'm a big fan of Teal. I really like Teal. So his car looked really good. I like the Saya. I how to say it, but I've already forgot. Anyway, the 54, I like that car. I thought that car looked really good. It's a classic, but I like the Dewalt car. A Dewalt car always looks really good. So those were the ones that stick out of my mind the most. I thought those looked the sharpest off the top of my head. Let's see. Carson is just a racer, says Jamie Wilder. Yeah, he's just super. He's just he's just super aggressive. And then the duality of man. The next comment, caution Hocevar, says Timber Ace. So he's super aggressive. You either like super aggressive drivers or you super aggressive drivers or you don't. Great sponsor plug. BB says in between the lanes. I appreciate you, my man. We try to get them in there. Thank you for doing these podcasts as first airborne. No problem. We try to get them before and after every Sunday, as long as I'm here at the house, and hopefully one day get it going on the road when I'm on the road. I had the 2, the 1, the 21 in my lineup. Went from leading the league to mid 20s in 15 laps. Has that updated yet? Let's see here. Has not updated on my end, so I'll have to go back. I have to go back and look at it. I think I had a decent day, but I don't think I had a great day because Austin Cindric wrecked, so that sort of cost me my position there in the fantasy league we're talking about. I wonder how Hendrick and Chevrolet feel about Carson pushing the 20 car past the 5. There it is, Escobar on top of it. I think at the moment he was doing it, you can see he's trying to do it to win the race for himself. Obviously, with hindsight being 2020 and all that good stuff, a lot of people are going to be like, you shouldn't have pushed the 20. So I think hindsight is not going to help him out on that deal. Josef is totally owned that he's not there to be anyone's friend. He's in it to win it. I respect that, honestly. Yeah, I do too. I like guys going out there and saying, hey, look, these guys are only my friends when it's convenient to them. And as soon as I do something wrong, I'm the bad guy. That's racing, man. And I like the fact that he just embraced it and said, you know what? They're not going to pull for me. They're at the end of the day, they're not really your friends. So why would you care what they have to say about? And I'm not defending him. I'm just saying, mentality wise, of a race car driver, I don't know why you would ever let it bother you what other race car drivers say about you, because they will literally do the same thing to you and then not cry about it. They only cry about it when it happens to them. That's racing. That's what makes it fun. Caution, no caution, overtime. NASCAR is a complete joke, says Camaro 50. Yeah, consistently inconsistent. And they just need to come up. And that's why I say the best rule is just to end it under caution, get rid of the green, white checkered altogether, because that can at least be consistent. They can at least get that consistently right. They have the opportunity to get that consistently right. Now, whether or not they do that, whole other story. Briscoe up front at one point with Busch. Says in between lanes. He was, but he even said, like, if you listen to his in-car radio at one point, he said the car was just draggy. It didn't feel fast. So he was able to get it up there. So because he'll wheel it and be aggressive, but Just didn't have the overall speed that some of the Fords had, and then there were a few Chevrolets that had some speed too. You saw Ross and Kyle Busch get up there and mix it up pretty good. Kyle Larson there from the second stage on as well. Everyone wants a hard nosed driver, then they hate it when he is one. I don't get it. They want a hard nosed driver, but they want that hard nosed driver to be their driver. If there's another driver that's hard nosed that somehow affects their driver, then all of a sudden it becomes a bad guy, and that's the fun of the sport. That was what made it really good back in the day. The Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt thing, that's what made that so good. They were very similar personalities as far as that goes, so it made for a good rivalry there. And then on through the line, just throw in whatever rivalry you want to sort of throw in there from that perspective. This season is not starting well, says E. Damon. Preach B says at least Denny Hamlin on his top 10. Yahoo! I don't know how that's. Does anybody even remember that commercial? That was like the original, the yodeling Yahoo commercial. Let's see. I'm just stating facts, says B. Let's see. Finishing under checkers may not be the fairest, but it is the safest. Finishing under caution would probably be the safest. Finishing under checkers, sometimes there can be cars in the way. We've seen, if you remember some of the 80s and early 90s, there was some there was some sketch coming back to the checkered flag situations, which is why we went to finishing under yellow at one point before they went to green, white, checkered. They were in turn 3 and 4. Should have raced to the line. These guys are pros, plenty of time to break, just no consistency. So so if they're in 3 and 4, I agree with you. Just let it be. Just race to the checkered flag. I do agree with that. I'm cool with this one ending with 3 laps. Says Rusty Beechwood. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it too. Just throw the caution, and that ends the race. I don't know. I'm okay with. I know a lot of people don't want to see that though, because it's not. You don't get as much excitement and drama as a green white checkered. I was watching Gluck and Bianchi defend NASCAR for throwing the yellow, saying it prevented someone from getting T-boned. Tell me, did the caution slow anyone down the way they got around the wreck? I mean, it's a fair point. You didn't finish reading the whole thing, BB, says Escobar. So did they get around the whole wreck? Yeah, feel free to retype if I don't finish at any point. No worries there. So yeah, if it didn't slow anybody down, obviously the safety thing is a moot point, is it not? So BB, you think the OEMs might buy into NASCAR ownership? Is that possible, or a genius business model? Says Jamie Schweitzer. If you go back to the conversation Brad Keselowski was having with Kelly Earnhardt, from a business perspective, it would make sense for the OEMs to buy in like that, because that way you're always guaranteed to be on the track and have some type of control in the decisions that are made. Because at any point, NASCAR could just say, since there's like, let's just go all the way fast forward to the future. There's no such thing as passenger sedans anymore, because everybody's buying SUVs and trucks. NASCAR just says, hey, we're going to do what the what was it, Tony Stewart, the SRX series did, and we're just going to have a car out there, and this is the NASCAR car, and this is what we race now. So and you just put whatever manufacturer's engine in it. So yeah, from that perspective, the car companies need to get in there. It would be smart from that angle. If it happens. Let's see. Ross Chastain has a total of 2 points this year, says Cody Ledger. Unfortunate start for the one car. The only thing consistent about I thought he got a good finish here though. Where did he end up? No, he ended up in 8th place here, so he's good. He'll be good after this race. Let's see. Carson, Professor Chaos, Josephus. I'm here for our new heel, says the brain. Indeed. He seems to be the one that's drawing everybody's ire. Let's all he needs to do, if he really wants to maximize this, he just needs to go out and wreck Denny Hamlin next race, so that Denny Hamlin talks about him on his podcast every day. So that's how he'll get maximum exposure. He needs to go wreck somebody with a popular podcast, and get your name out there. Cody Ware has a jaw injury after his crash. That's unfortunate. I didn't hear about that, so that's a bummer. He did hit a ton for sure. Josh Berry hit a ton too, so hopefully he's all right as well. AM made a ton of upgrades over the offseason. I have some friends inside the sport who said so, says Thunder. So like I said, your second year, you're going to be better as a team, and they've also got, much more experienced drivers. Not a shock as hard as he hit, says B. So close for Larson. Wish he went went to the line. Oh well, I think Carson maybe could have got them. Says OJ and toothpaste. That that's the big what if. Carson Hocevar looked like he had the better run, but they did still have a long way to go to get there. So it would have been interesting if they raced back to the checkers. Chase Briscoe is in a JGR car is still a head scratcher. Says X dude. Nice to see the 21 team running up front, says Bingo Winchester. I would say get used to it. Get used to it for the rest of the season. I think they got the right guy at the right time in the right situation over there. Veteran drivers will always complain about the young guns. Agree with you 100% there, Delmer. And they are potentially taking their sponsors. Very good point as well. Nice. I like how you followed that up with some other reasons why there might be extra drama. Other than BB, Iceberg, and Breakhard, maybe Pocris, the media can just F off when they're trying to create drama, says Shaw. I appreciate it. So, yeah, I don't try to. I throw Jeff Gluck in there, too. I don't think he really tries to create drama. So it is what it is. Shaw said E-Step as well. Yeah, E-Step as well. Oh, so you think E-Step is a shill? I don't know. I don't know. He's really nice, so I don't know. I'm biased because he's really nice in person. So I don't know. I don't necessarily see it that way, but also I'm biased. Let's see. When Ryan Blaney gets heated inside the car, he saves big money at his local Menards and picks up a bottle of body armor. Says in between the legs. Speaking of Ryan Blaney and going to Menards, Paul Menard was in the Trans Am race, but he didn't. I don't think he necessarily won it, but Paul Tracy did. So the prediction from earlier that one of the Pauls will win the Trans Am race does come true. Look like Paul Tracy was standing on top of the podium, if I saw that correctly. The Aaron's car was fire, says Bumblebee. Blaney's car looked good. Yeah, the silver and red body armor car did look good. Isn't the first time since Michael Waltrip Racing we've seen the Aaron's on a Cup car. I don't know if it's the first time, but it's the first time I remember it being back on one. Carson is young. I'd rather have him than old side swipe Suarez, says Rusty Beechwood. Looks like Cheddar Scheme was the same as last year. Very similar. If it's changed at all, it's very little. BB, you were 19th this week. Go live and then league, and you can tell everyone in real time for that specific week. I was 19th in the week. I got you. Let's see. It's still not doing it for me for some reason. I don't think. Okay, there we go. So I'm 19th. So here we go. Here's the rundown. Like Dislike takes the lead. American Eagle is in second. Billy Joe in third, tied with Redneck Racing 79. Enzo in fifth. Joseph Wooten in sixth. Rusty Beechwood in seventh, tied with Shaw, also in seventh. Ninth going to be Brickyard Brickhead, and Chasing Dubs is now in 10th. So there you go. The script has been flipped. I am in 19th right now, or 19th this week. I don't know about overall. 139 total. That doesn't. I had 167 last week. Doesn't make any sense. All right, we'll see. We'll have to go look at the overall. That's not the overall, but that's this week. I was 19th this week. Let's see. Hocevar kind of reminds me of Rusty Wallace. Just wants to win and do what it will take to do so. Says Mark 63. Hey BB, what's your opinion on Joey Logano in the booth? I think he's pretty good in the booth. Him and Brad Keselowski brought a lot to the table. I thought that was a good booth. Let's see. Logano and Hocevar ain't here to be friends. I like it, says Shaw. I like it too. I like it. No need to make friends. You're here to win races and collect money and get sponsors. And yeah, that's about it. Let's see. Good race. Denny and Ross both in the top 10, said David Smith. It was a good race for those two. Say Kyle, hello, says B. Shout out to Smiley Paul Menard for the Trans Am win. Good run by Brent Cruz. Well, until the Gremlins got him. So was Paul Menard and Paul Tracy on the same team? The Super Paul team. Having a green-white checkered is a net negative for NASCAR. Any potential new viewer will see the flaw and not bother tuning into NASCAR races, says Chrome Diesel. It just depends. It just depends. Jeff gave no physics, says Rusty Beechwood. That's a fact. Old Bodine, Jeff Rowe Bodine. He was. He just. You're right. He didn't care at that time. Carson H, the new Dart without feathers, says Jimmy Howards. There you go. It just depends on whether you like that driver or not. If you like the aggressiveness or not. Nice Yahoo, BB says in between the lanes. So BB remembers the old Yahoo commercials. Briscoe car was draggy. Maybe they had a legal. Oh, Bruce Garvey going in hard. Maybe they had a legal spoiler, says Bruce Garvey. Benny B found the last 50 laps very entertaining. I thought it was a great race. I hated that it ended like that, but you know, if NASCAR thought it was for safety, if that's what they're going to say, it's hard. You can't argue against safety. So like whenever they say that, you just look like a dick if you're like, oh, they could have made it to the start finish line. So they've got the shielding of safety there on that one. Whosoever makes Chastain, Hocevar makes Chastain look like Mark Martin, no patience at all, just all aggression, says Jim Franklin. 99 sounded really down in his interview. I think he knows his time. Yeah, it was not a lot of positive body language in that one. I agree with you like dislike. HMS sucks, says Bumblebee. Blaney gets wrecked the first two races of the year and finishes 7th and 4th. Not too bad considering, says Bingo Winchester. That's actually a pretty good point. He has had two significant wrecks and has finished in the top 10 in both of them. And it's an odd year. So what if Ryan Blaney has the opposite of what Joey Logano has going on? What if Ryan Blaney wins championships in odd years? Joey Logano wins them in even years? Just throwing it out there. We'll start this. Put your tinfoil hat firmly on. Let's start the conspiracy theory now. HMS sucks and blows, says Shaw. Shaw, my guy drives the 48. I kid. JGR blows and sucks, says Shaw. Sorry, I meant finishing under caution was the safest. I got you. The Rona got his brain scrambled. Well, I hope you feel better, Bruce. I hate that you have that. Thunderstrikes C12. That's what happens when Yahoo Toyota Camry XSE does well on track. I may not like a race team, but if I like them, just sucks who they race for, says Shaw. I love to hear it, says Thunder. The more pack racing we have, the more cautions we will have on the last lap for a green white checkered, says Escobar. That's a fair point. That's definitely a fair point. I can't disagree with you there on that one. Let's see. I had a ton of bosses I hated, but they made me a lot of money, so I dealt with it, says Shaw. McDowell was 5 laps down, came back to finish 13th. 5 laps down, so it wasn't 6. I thought it was 6 at one point. So there you go, 5 laps and finishing 13th, not bad. BD Atlanta going to host the championship race in 2026 before they repave it. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. They are talking about moving it, so moving it around. So we will see what they do with it. Menard did win, so there you go. I guess they were on the same team. What does Paul and Paul? What does NASCAR say about throwing the yellow for the Cup race and not letting them race back to the line like they have been doing all weekend until now? I don't know. It's just a disaster. They need to clean it up and just figure out what they need to do with it. Because, like I said, it's just been consistently inconsistent, and until you make it consistent, it is what it is. I felt bad for the 21. Wrong place, wrong time, says Bruce Reed. Who had the best looking wrap or scheme this week, in your opinion? I like the Columbia car. I thought the Columbia car looked the best. So the 23, I'm pretty sure it was Bubba. He's the Columbia guy. So 23 looked the best. E-Step is a super nice guy, but still a super NASCAR shill, which I can understand. Do not bite the hand that feeds you, says Shaw. Tracy and Menard both won their respective classes in the Trans Am race. Okay, so they're racing different classes. That makes sense. So that's what I was seeing. I didn't know if it was like an endurance race or swapping rides. All right, so both Pauls won. Look at that. How about that? Congratulations to both the Pauls. Super Paul weekend. You were checking just for this week, not overall. Says say Kyle. Yeah, baby, making up ground from missing week 1. I was in the 200s until the wreck, says Rusty. Ryan Blaney, body armor, zero sugar, Dark Horse Mustang is still available for pre-order, I believe. I think I made the cut. Says in between the lanes. Hopefully you got that purchase in if you made that one. No Martin Truex Jr. for the first time in 20 years seems unreal. It is crazy, man. Like that's some people have not even known the sport without him. So that's super interesting for sure. Let's see. Logano and Keselowski are the best commentating team, in my opinion, says Shaw. And look, let's give a shout out to Jamie Little. She stepped her game up this year as well. So she's a lot better this season than she has been in the past. So let's not always let's give props when props are due. We don't always have to complain, for sure. It's better not to have any friends in racing than to have a friend like Denny, says Escobar. So he's not a Denny fan. Denny sucks and blows, says Shaw. And bends over, says Shaw. Shaw going in hard on old James Dennis here. B saying, ooh, Cindric gets the championship this year, says Shah. Hey, don't sleep on Austin Cindric. He was having a good run till some contact took him out. Larson went up there to block, and then he touched the wall, and I think he could have saved it, but then it looks like the 24 car lost it too. Once the 24 car hit him, that was a wrap for those two. You can officially purchase the Ryan Blaney Body Armor Zero Sugar Dark Horse Mustang. It says in between the lanes. There you go. It's ready to go. The Ford's been great for 95% of two races I run, but not much to show for it, says Jimmy Howard. There were some races last year like that too. I feel like for Ford, like they had a lot of speed, and then they just, for whatever reason, the way it played out at the end, they didn't get the win. Atlanta was just a repeat of the super speedway mess at Daytona, says Tennessee Smokey. Certainly, there were definitely a lot of cautions. I like Blaney winning a championship every odd year, says Jesse Daly. There you go. It could happen. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens. BB, that was worth it to hear you go. Yahoo says in between lanes, no problem. I wish my voice was a little bit better, so I could have got a little bit higher on the note there, but it is not. Let's see. Kyle Larson finishes a race at Atlanta and still gets screwed over, says Joseph Wooten. Hey, look, man, if you're a Larson fan, you got to take the top 5, bro. Like, we're at a super speedway and we got a top 5. I'm not going to complain about it too much. Let's see. Cars are slowed down with aero drag and too little horsepower. I do agree with that. They definitely need some more horsepower. Causes this pack racing, which means one mistake takes out a whole bunch of good cars. Yeah, that's for sure. No doubt about it. Let's see. Bubba had a good race car, didn't he? Says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, it looked like him and the 20 car were the only two Toyotas I really could see that could actually get up there by themselves and run. Like I said, the 19 looked a little too draggy to hold anybody back with blocks or anything like that. I need something to argue with BB about. Larson sucks, LOL, says Shaw. A lot of people didn't like that block he threw at the end. I thought it was just racing, but then again, obviously I'm biased. Quattro, he didn't like it at all. He was super heated about it in the Discord. 77 driving way over his head, dangerously aggressive, totally destroying a lot of race cars, going to get a driver hurt with boneheaded moves in the pack. We'll see how that plays out. A lot of people were super mad with him, so we'll see if any of those guys decide to pay him back or if they're just giving lip service. Like I said, I don't listen to what they say. I kind of try to pay attention to what they do on the track to judge how much they really were upset with somebody. As you saw, nobody really paid Ross Chastain back until Denny Hamlin got in front of him and blocked. That was the only real payback you ever saw with Chastain there. I didn't see where Hocevar destroyed anyone, says B. Penske going to return to Dodge. I don't know who Dodge is talking about 2028. They'll come back to Cup, and what was it, 2027? They'd come back to the trucks or something like that. It'll basically, whatever they come back to trucks, it'll be a year gap, and they'll be back in Cup. So it'll be interesting to see who they go with. Would have been cool to see it finish under green, says John Bradburn. I agree. I wish it had finished under green, but NASCAR deemed it not safe, so they threw the yellow. I'll have to go back and analyze it. I haven't had, other than the bang bang moment that it happened, I haven't looked at it since then. Spinning the 12, yes, says Bumblebee. 24 was pushing tight all day. Wasn't even shocked when he got high and made contact with the 2, says Say Kyle. So yeah, he pushed up. Looked like a lot of cars were pushing up. This car kind of tends to run tight, it looks like. So it was interesting that they sort of pushed up there. Fox's TV producer for NASCAR needs to be fired. When Chase hit the wall, they did the Toyota cutaway ad, says Joseph Wooten. No way Penske leaves Ford. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Dodge can pull a team and what team it would be. NASCAR needs to get together and fix the super speedway mess and fix it soon. It would have to be a team that can build engines, though. So that would be the thing. And also, don't forget, they could go to a 1 or 2 car team if they believe that 1 or 2 car team, because NASCAR said they're holding some charters back for if a manufacturer wants to get into the sport. So a 1 or 2 car team could get extra charters if they teamed up with like a Dodge or, a Honda or whoever. NASCAR needs to get together and fix the super speedway mess and fix it soon, says Tennessee Smokey. I don't think NASCAR sees it as a mess, though. That's the issue. So we'll see. We'll see if they do anything. Shaw says, or Ford. Seabell loves super speedways. Yeah, that's what he said as soon as he got out of the car. So he's not one of the drivers that gets out and complains about it. Dodge is cool, but never were impressive in NASCAR. Says Shaw. They did pretty good there last year. Brad Keselowski won the championship for him. Richard Petty had some good runs for Plymouth. So I'm not going to say they were never impressive in NASCAR. Like every other manufacturer, they had their good years and bad years. Excited to see how much Cindric improves this year on ovals and road courses. He was a great road course racer in Xfinity. Maybe it starts to carry over. Yeah, I think you'll see him do well. He's had some good runs and when he was having those good runs, had some mechanical failures. He's had some brake issues and stuff like that. Seabell wins. Seabell's year 5 wins and championship says like this, like NASCAR Fox CW app sucks, says Tennessee Smokey. Mr. Bill France Sr. would roll over in his grave with the days racing at Atlanta, says Timber Race. I would love to know what the fourth OEM will be, says Shop. Looks like it's going to be Dodge. So a lot of people are reporting that now. The Athletic, which would be Jordan Bianchi, just reported that it's going to be Dodge. So a lot of smoke beneath the Dodge name. So it's looking like it's going to be Dodge. Yeah, I appreciate the side-by-side with the commercials, but it's like every 2 minutes, says Bingo Winchester. Waiting on Tuesday for inspection on Toyotas and on Monday when Denny has all the answers and tells NASCAR how it should be done, says Jimmy Howard. On the go with CeeLo. I went 3 for weekend, Bush Hill and Bell. All right, there you go. CeeLo hitting it big. Good for you, my man. If you want to check out any live streams during races, pretty much any race, really, check out CeeLo. Does a great job over there on his channel and a good dude. Let's see. Byron's Liberty University scheme was the same. Yeah, they haven't changed that up in a long time, I want to say. Ross told Carson there is only room for one real aggressive driver and go back to trucks, says Escobar. Yeah, it looked like at one point Ross was contemplating giving him one of those one of those Noah Gregson hellos that he gave Noah Gregson that one time. So we'll see what happens on track though. Got all the points formats posted on Twitter. Blaney leads all, but is dominating this format with an 18-point lead. Dodge and Petty, a perfect match, says Delmer Kaufman. Where did Kyle Busch finish? Kyle Busch ended up in 8th place finish, maybe. Let's see here. Bushy. 7th place for Kyle Busch. I was one off. Ross Chastain finished in 8th. I did not remember the Dodge had a championship, says Shah. I suck. It's all good, brother. The lemonade's talking. Lemonade's talking to you there, Leahy. It's all good. Where do you think KFB goes next year? Stays in the 8 or goes to the 99 or the 84 or the 35? I think he's probably going to stay with the 8 car. They're running pretty good, and there were some races last year that he was running top 10, and he wrecked himself trying to get too much out of the car. So I think he's going to have a much cleaner season this year, and I think you're going to see a complete turnaround for that team. And I do expect them to get a win too. RCR has had some speed the first 2 races. Now I get it; they're super speedways, and we know RCR does good there. So I think they'll have a good season though. Dodge, Plymouth Petty, 27 wins in 1 year with the Belvedere for sure, Jimmy Howard. But Bob Pockrass, from Bob Pockrass, tech is complete, no issues. Bell is the winner. Bush and Smith cars to R&D Center for teardown via NASCAR on Fox. Appreciate you there, Thunder, as always. Resident Ninja, Thunder. Smokey. He does karate. That's what that was about. It's the internet, and I know how some people are going to try to run with that. Smokey, at least CW gives you free cams to watch. Says CeeLo on the go. What's up, CeeLo? What's up? Like dislike saying what's up to CeeLo. What's up? Like dislike says CeeLo. Watch Honda racing program slip into Cup in 2026. I'm thinking Honda's really thinking hard about coming. I don't know if Honda comes or not, but I feel like Honda is just as probable as Dodge. So we could get really lucky and see 2 manufacturers come in. That would be super cool. Ross ain't got any room to call anybody out, says Bumblebee. Dodge will be will end up being Spire, Trackhouse, or Legacy, or all of them, says Escobar, or Legacy. I mean, it's liquor from the storm, says Shaw. Dude, Hocevar looked like a villain, says Krusty. So there you go. That's the other thing. Hocevar is tall and skinny, so he's got sort of the villain look. If he really wanted to lean into being the villain, all he needs is a menacing cape and a top hat, and he could be a super villain. Excellent Trailer Park Boys reference, says Charlotte. Thank you, Charlotte. I appreciate it. And he drives like Krusty saying, and he drives like trash. I mean, if Bush wins last year at Atlanta, we wouldn't be saying anything. Says on the go with CeeLo. For sure, for sure. I agree with that 100%. Barry's race. Oh yeah, man, Barry. So close, so close. I think he's going to end up getting one this year, though. Too bad for corporate trash. Says Krusty. After hearing some comments from Kyle Busch and his crew chief, I'd be surprised if he left RCR. That's where I'm at with it too. That's where I'm at with it too. New rule on wreck repairs in the garage working pretty well. Yeah, I think it's been an overall success so far. Clint Boyer seems to be really on board with it. Hocevar is doing nothing that half the front runners haven't done to get there. Bing, bing, bing. Bullseye, Brickyard. I agree with you 100%. But when it's the new young guy, that's when they all complain the most. Richard Petty complained about Dale Sr. Dale Sr. complained about Jeff Gordon. It is what it is. It's just the way it goes. Okay, everyone with a problem with the 77 form a line one at a time. Says like dislike. Bell is more of a leader than Hamlin seems to be over at JGR. Bowman got taken out in another mess he didn't make, says Bumblebee. He's had a rough start to the season. Hocevar looks like the big bad wolf cartoon character, says ISNF. Let me slow down and talk. I ain't crunk. I just ain't sober, says Shah. I hope KFB stays at RCR, make RCR great again, says like dislike. KFB won for Spire today, wants them to yesterday, wants them to leave the sport today, says Cody Ledger. Who you got? Early pick for next week. Reddick, SVG. Reddick's a good pick. I like the way you're thinking there. Yeah, I mean, either one of those guys. SVG obviously going to be a popular pick. Zilich wouldn't surprise me one bit. If I had to pick a sleeper, like everybody's going to have the same ones, right? AJ Allmendinger, all the Chase Elliott, all the normal suspects. But if I was going to go out on a limb and just pick a wild card, don't sleep on Austin Cindric. I feel like he's coming into his own. And Eric Jones. Those would be two that I would look at a road course that a lot of people wouldn't think about that could flip the table and upset it. A lot of people are going to pick Michael McDowell too, but a lot of people would also still see him as a upset, which I don't know why. He's so good at road courses, but it is what it is. He's always the underdog because he's Michael McDowell. I need a new favorite driver. Thinking Josephus, if he shows me he can win, says Elise. So there you go. Take that, says Shy. Dinger, says Herbie. So Herbie going with the dinger there. Byron will be strong at Coda. Byron's strong everywhere. I agree with you, say Kyle. Byron's coming into his own too. I like the move the 77 made at the end. He pushed Bell to the win while at least trying to win. Yeah, he was going for it, Perry. I agree with you. Better than just riding around. I agree with you 100%, Perry. If Kyle Busch leaves, will RCR bring up Austin Hill? Says John Bradburn. I think they're going to bring up Austin Hill whether or not Kyle Busch leaves or not. I think he's coming up. Ooh, the 87 Red Bull car. Oh my God, says CeeLo. The dueling Red Bull cars. Yeah. Don't sleep on Zilly. He can definitely get it done. Byron defending Coda winner as well. Hey, there you go. So like I said, never sleep on the 24 car. I don't know. There's some drivers I wouldn't pick, like Ryan Newman was never a road course fanatic. Even though Kyle Larson has won a road course before, I wouldn't pick him. It's not necessarily his cup of tea. Bubba Wallace has never really liked road courses. He's not a big road course guy. Some guys just hate them. So don't sleep on the 17. 17 is always really good at road courses too. I haven't heard his name mentioned a lot, but it really should be. SVG got to the lead today. He's getting better at this oval game. He is. Like I said, SVG is a quick study, and he's going to make some noise this season for sure. But let's give a shout out to the rookie that finished first, though, Riley Herbst, in the 35, finishing the highest rookie in this race. So shout out to the 35 man. Let's see. It's been fun. Good night, says Sha. Take them easy, Sha. Drink a glass of water for your head hits the pillow, brother. Ty Gibbs could be strong next week too. Oh, good point, say Kyle. Ty Gibbs is really good at road courses. Good call. Bumblebee and his pit crew let him down. Came in second, went out eighth. Says on the go with CeeLo. Briscoe at Coda. So in between the lanes going with Briscoe at Coda. Like it. Number 2 for the Killer Bee. Win number 2 for the Killer Bee, says Brickyard. John Hunter is starting off this year good. He is. So good for him because he had the most wrecks of anybody last year. So he's turned it around, hopefully. Water will hurt you, says Shaw. Got the fastest lap award from last week and this week, sponsored by Xfinity Mobile. It says ISNF. Jimmy Spencer was the worst road course driver ever. Agreed. 100%, Mark 63. 100% agree with you. Corey LaJoy left instructions on the dashboard for SVG. Let's see. Will Ford go winless longer than last season? Nah, Ford's going to pick one up before too long. They're too fast. They found something. They're too fast this year. 5 for the win next week, says James. So there you go. James going with Larson. I like it. I like the confidence. Burger for the win, says John. Not at a road course, not in these cars. That's for sure. Maybe the older car. I did back when I was playing video games. I did enjoy that one because you could slide it around a lot. Road course driver, no one ever thinks about Jeff Bodine. He was good for sure. Won at Riverside, Sonoma, and Watkins Glen. Mark Martin was pretty good at road courses too. Not a lot of people think about that when they think about Mark Martin in the old Folgers and Valvoline car. Bush at Coda would be a primary choice for me. Ford Rocks. Says Shy. Bell is my pick next weekend. So Mark going with Christopher Bell. BB, I couldn't hardly watch. Ross took the white flag, leading the race, and then I ended up 8th. It was tough. It was tough for him. I remember Sterling Marlin saying he'd not even go to the road courses if he didn't have to run for points. Says Bumblebee. Number 9 finished on the lead lap, says Tennessee Smokey. I don't know. Let's see. He did finish on the lead lap, and he was in 20th place. So there you go. Old Chase Elliott finishing in 20th. Jimmy Spencer might be bad at road courses, but he was something worth laughing at when he was part of the race hub with the crying towel, for sure. For sure. Smokey, he wrecked, says B. Kyle Petty was pretty good at road courses. Yeah. Oh, he had a really good run until he broke his leg, for sure. BB, sorry I joined late. What's your opinion on the flag at the end? I'm going to have to go back and rewatch it. But once again, NASCAR is being inconsistent. NASCAR just needs to be consistent with it some way, shape, or form. And the only way to really be consistent with it is to end the races under yellow and stop doing the green, white checker. That's like my overall. It's not going to be popular, but that's my overall take on it. But I'll have to go back and actually watch it to see where Josh Berry's car was at when they threw the caution and if he was actually in danger. So it is what it is as far as that goes. All right. Final results of the poll question. 67% saying yes. Carson Hocevar is the new Ross Chastain type. NASCAR supervillain. That's going to do it for this one. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Get ready to make the video for in the morning. And until then, peace.